EU LIFE projects are aimed at addressing and improving environmental and climate issues. For 30 years, through the LIFE programme, the European Union has co-financed projects aimed at the protection of natural habitats and the development of environmental awareness of the population. There are two objectives of the project: convert a waste, a dredged and remediated sediment, into a resource, a commercial substrate to be used in agriculture, through the application of sustainable techniques from both an environmental and an economic point of view. Reduce the use of peat in the horticultural sector and thus protect peatlands as natural environments that are not easily renewable. The dredging of ports, rivers and canals is an indispensable activity for navigation purposes, which, according to current estimates, involves approximately 200 million cubic meters of sediment per year throughout Europe. In order to be used in agriculture, these sediments need to be free of contaminants or, if not, be reclaimed. Among the methods used for remediation, phytoremediation represents a sustainable solution from both an environmental and an economic point of view. Phytoremediation is an in situ methodology which uses higher plants and the microorganisms associated with them to clean up sites contaminated by heavy metals, organic pollutants, mainly hydrocarbons, and radioactive substances. There are 6 project partners. Flora Toscana, a cooperative of growers based in Tuscany, Italy, coordinator of the project and responsible for the Italian demonstration trials. CREA, Research Centre for Horticulture, Pescia, Italy, scientific manager of the agronomic trials conducted in Italy. CNR IRNET, Research Institute on Terrestrial Ecosystems, Pisa, Italy, branch of the National Research Council, responsible for soil analyses as an expert in phytoremediation. Carbon Sink Group, SRL, a spin-off of the University of Florence, Italy, responsible for the LCA analysis on the Italian tests, also assisted CREA in the experimental trials. UMH, Universitas Miguel Hernández of Elche, Spain, scientific manager of agronomic trials in Spain as expert in characterization and analysis of plants. Caliplant, a Spanish nursery based in the province of Murcia, responsible for the Spanish demonstration trials conducted in the nursery. In LIFE SUBSED, a reclaimed material from a previous project, Agriport, has been used, as part of which a phytoremediation methodology that had been developed and patented. The sediment was then subjected to 3 months of land farming, which consisted of repeated processing in order to homogenize and oxygenate the soil to improve its biological, physical and chemical characteristics.
La nostra attività del CNR IRET sede di Pisa riguarda lo studio dei processi che sono legati alla comprensione relativi alla qualità dei suoli e alla salute dei suoli. Studiamo inoltre processi legati alla trasformazione dei rifiuti organici e dei sedimenti di dragaggio al fine di ottenere un prodotto che si può utilizzare in agricoltura o nell'ambiente nel pieno rispetto dei principi di economia circolare. In particolare nell'ambito del progetto LIFE SUBSED il CNR IRET si è occupato di seguire il trattamento dei sedimenti di dragaggio mediante l'utilizzo di piante e microrganismi. Abbiamo ottenuto così un substrato agronomico che abbiamo utilizzato per la crescita di piante ornamentali e piante alimentari. Infine, insieme ad altri partner del progetto, abbiamo contribuito a diffondere i risultati delle nostre attività in contesti scientifici e divulgativi.
The sediment thus obtained was subsequently mixed in various proportions with commercial preparations based on peat, coconut fibre and wood fibre to best meet the needs of the various crops. It was then used as a substrate for the soilless cultivation of various species for ornamental and food use. Demonstration tests were carried out in Tuscany, Italy, and in the communities of Valencia and Murcia, Spain.
Flora Toscana è una cooperativa di floricoltori che da 50 anni si occupa di produzione e commercializzazione di fiori, fronde e piante in vaso, nonché della vendita di mezzi tecnici per l'agricoltura. Il nostro ruolo nel progetto, che rientra nell'attività di ricerca e sviluppo dell'azienda, è stato, oltre al management, l'ottenimento dell'autorizzazione da parte della Regione Toscana per la sperimentazione come richiesto dalla legislazione ambientale e la realizzazione e conduzione dei siti dimostrativi in Italia. Abbiamo inoltre partecipato alla raccolta dei dati sperimentali e, insieme agli altri partner, alla divulgazione dei risultati del progetto.
Il nostro centro ha partecipato alla predisposizione delle prove sperimentali e poi nello specifico si è occupato del monitoraggio delle fasi di sviluppo di alcune specie, tra cui il basilico, il lauro ceraso, la prota, la calla, che sono state coltivate su dei substrati a base di sedimento in diverse proporzioni. Il monitoraggio ha consentito la valutazione delle performance produttive sia da un punto di vista di resa che di qualità attraverso rilievi fisiologici, morfologici e anche nel caso del basilico nutraceutici.
Y nosotros nos hemos encargado, el grupo de la UMH, de realizar la demostración de los sedimentos marinos dragados del puerto de Livorno para ver su uso en agricultura, concretamente en el cultivo del limón, que es el cultivo más importante de la zona. Para ello hemos utilizado el sedimento en 3 concentraciones distintas y a su vez hemos utilizado 3 patrones, los más utilizados en la zona para el cultivo de dicha especie. Los resultados han sido prometedores y hemos visto que se puede utilizar este sedimento para su uso en agricultura.
Nosotros donde estamos en la zona de Murcia tenemos cada vez más limitaciones y problemas de suministro de agua y también vemos que el tema del sustrato a nivel de logística y de abastecimiento cada vez más se pone cada vez más complicado. Hemos visto que con el estudio que hemos hecho en el proyecto LIFE hemos visto que se podía valorizar sustratos o tipos de sedimentos que antes no se valorizaban, usándolos en la producción agrícola, sobre todo mezclándolos con sustratos ya existentes, y que al final del cabo de este experimento hemos visto que a nivel de producción pudimos sacar planta o un resultado comercialmente aceptable.
Laurel. The effects on the propagation and growth of this evergreen ornamental species, one of the most important from a commercial point of view for the Italian nursery sector, were evaluated. Calla lily. This species, cultivated for the production of cut flowers, was chosen due to its economic importance worldwide. Protea. It is the national flower of South Africa. The test involved the variety Little Prince, which, thanks to its relatively compact habit, is suitable for growing in pots. Basil. Basil is an aromatic and seasoning plant. It represents one of the most loved and widespread species in Italy and in the world. Blueberry. This small fruit was chosen because its cultivation is expanding, thanks to the genetic improvement that has provided large berried varieties rich in health benefits. Woodland strawberry. The validation of the substrates has then involved the cultivation of wild strawberry, a perennial herbaceous, very adaptable thanks to its rhizomatous nature. Olive tree. This evergreen tree adapts to the most unfavorable climate and soil conditions. The experimentation began during the hardening phase of the grafted seedlings and involved growth in the nursery phase. Lemon. This fruit plant, known all over the world, has been the subject of study both in the nursery and in the fruit production phase. The experimentation compared different types of rootstocks. All demonstrative trials were carried out under cover in greenhouses. The parameters required by the legislation on fertilizers were determined on the substrates such as bulk density, pH, electrical conductivity, total organic carbon, total nitrogen, and metals. In addition, measurements were made related to the agronomic quality of a substrate and therefore to its fertility in terms of nutrients and the ability to retain water. Destructive and non-destructive measures were carried out on the plants under study in order to monitor their growth. Diameter and height of plants, number of stems, flowers and fruits, photosynthetic activity, fluorescence, colorimetric analysis, drainage measurements. Leaf area, fresh and dry weight, chlorophyll and carotenoid content, nutrients, heavy metals, MDA analysis for oxidative stress. The following analyses were carried out on the fruits: color, weight, diameter, juice yield, skin thickness, sugar and organic acid content, metabolites, antioxidant activity, heavy metals, pesticide residues, presence of hydrocarbons, panel tests. The Life SUBSED project has also addressed the legislative and authorization aspects relating to the use of sediments in agriculture. This involves a comparison both with environmental legislation and with that on fertilizers. A life cycle assessment, LCA analysis, was performed to verify the sustainability of the use of phytoremediation sediment.
All'interno del progetto ci siamo occupati dell'analisi di impatto ambientale, andando a implementare una valutazione cosiddetta di Life Cycle Assessment, quindi andando ad analizzare il progetto in tutte le sue fasi di vita, ottenendo dei risultati su diversi indicatori di impatto ambientale, dal cambiamento climatico alla tossicità per l'uomo, al consumo di risorse idriche o risorse materiali ed energetiche.
In order to obtain maximum visibility at European level, dissemination material was produced during the project, such as roll-ups, brochures and specific gadgets, which were distributed at fairs, workshops and events that have been organized. Articles have been published in scientific journals and in trade journals. A logo was designed and produced. A website, www.lifesubsed.com, was published online. Project pages were created on social channels such as Facebook and Twitter. The results obtained confirm and integrate what has already been highlighted in previous studies. Land farming has improved the agronomic and biological characteristics of the sediment, making it more suitable for plant cultivation. The species subject to experimentation have responded positively, with extremely promising results both from the agronomic point of view, referring in particular to the reduction of water consumption, and quality of the productions. Studies carried out on food plants have shown that the use of remediated sediments does not present significant risks to human health. The data collected showed that the phytoremediation sediment can constitute a resource and be successfully used as a constitute of a cultivation substrate in the variable portion between 25 and 50%, depending on the species considered. The LCA analysis highlighted a significant reduction in the environmental impact, deriving from the non-exploitation of the peat bogs and the reduced logistics required to obtain the substrate. The impact deriving from transportation was practically zeroed, going from about 200 kg of CO2 equivalent for the transport of 1 kg of peat to about 6.5 kg of CO2 equivalent for the transport of 1 kg of dredged sediment from the port of Livorno to Italian sites. Finally, the project made it possible to define the procedure necessary to use a dredged sediment as a component of a cultivation substrate. As waste, dredged sediments cannot be used without first being downgraded from this category. This can be obtained through a process called end of waste, which by law requires the intervention of a recovery plant whose procedures are authorized for the management and treatment of the EW code 170506, corresponding to non-hazardous dredging sediments. The waste thus recovered, classified as a second raw material, is subsequently mixed with organic amendments, which allow for adaptation to the regulatory classification of cultivation substrate.